Color is definitely very, very important to my films. In fact, they have become more and more important when I was making my first film, Ilo Ilo, because the film was set in 1997, so it was very, very specific how that decade should look, how that period should look. So it has to do with texture, it has to do with color. You know, the lipsticks were very red at the time, a lot of the clothes were very gaudy, and it was about getting all that right. And even when we were doing the grading for the film, I wanted to create a sense of that period, so it didn't feel like it's a modern day film. It really is set in the 90s. I think for me, like, color reproduction and accuracy is quite important because, you know, you set out as a filmmaker, you have a certain idea or vision or a feeling that you're trying to convey, right? And you use light and colors and images and the frame itself. The problem is this, you know, in the past we all watch films in the cinema, so you could control very much what the image is. You know, in the past it was on film, and then later on now on a DCP and on those projectors, usually the color rendition is very high. But now people watch films on too many devices, even television. You know, I'm very, very picky when I buy televisions because some look too vivid and bright and the color doesn't look real to me, you know, even though they would market themselves as very true and real. So for me, it's important that one, whether you're watching a film on a device or a television, that one would be able to have that kind of accuracy and reproduction. It's the same for projectors. I can't see a point why would you want to watch a film on a projector if you're not going to get the same experience as watching it in the cinema. Because the idea of watching a film on a projector is that you have the big screen experience, and actually that is what I enjoy very much. And I'm quite a purist, so I believe in making films for the big screen. It's quite interesting because I've been using quite a few projectors the past 6 months to a year because I'm doing post-production on a new film. And we started off with a really terrible projector that my editor has and had very bad experience. And then later on, you know, I used a better one. And then when I started using the BenQ, the brightness, the color reproduction accuracy feels pretty close to what you would have on a broadcast monitor. Yeah, and it's quite specific, you know, because you know, the broadcast sort of standards like what, Rec 709, and somehow it's able to reproduce that. It really feels like it that you're watching your film as close to how your audiences or my audiences will watch it in the cinema, and that for me is it's great. Like I said before, you know, I'm very much a purist, so I really would love for everyone to watch my films in the cinema. But the problem is, a lot of films are not in the cinema for long enough. Sometimes they're out for like 2 weeks, you know, and it's getting more and more difficult for filmmakers like myself when we make, you know, art house films or independent films. It's just difficult because of market constraints. But you know, if you're not able to watch my film in the cinema, I would love that you'd see it, you know, in the best possible way, on the biggest screen possible. And one way is to definitely watch it on at least 2K, watch it on a good projector, and watch it with good sound. It's not that hard these days to recreate the cinema experience at home, but one should have those basic tools. Yeah. I would recommend for people who want a home cinema experience to go for a BenQ projector, because I think the key thing, just like buying a good TV, for me, it's color reproduction. So I think what is interesting about BenQ is that it tries to stay loyal to the colors. If you want to watch something, it's best to see it with the filmmaker's intent. You see, this is how they design it, this is what they want you to see. That it stays true to the colors and the palette that a filmmaker sort of envisioned and worked for so long to actually create.